The Silent Guardian. The stars hung silently in the void as the Zaldari warship Conqueror cut through space, its massive form dwarfing the scout vessels that flanked it. Admiral Corvin stood at the command center, his four arms folded behind his back as he gazed out at the endless expanse before him. The Zaldari Empire had expanded across 3 sectors of the galaxy, their superior technology and ruthless military tactics ensuring their dominance over dozens of alien civilizations. "Admiral," the communication officer called, their voice tinged with confusion. "We're detecting a signal from Sector 9 Delta." Corvin's inner eyelids flickered with interest. Sector 9 Delta was supposedly empty, a dead zone that had been marked as uninhabitable for centuries. No trading routes passed through there. No colonies had been established. It was, for all intents and purposes, a void within the void. "What kind of signal?" he asked, moving toward the holographic display. "Unknown, sir. It's not following any communication protocols we recognize. It's just pulsing." The display showed a rhythmic pattern, steady and unwavering. It wasn't a distress call or a standard communication attempt. It felt deliberate, like a beacon or perhaps a warning. "How long has it been active?" "That's the strange part, sir. According to our analysis, the signal has been broadcasting for at least 700 years. Our systems only detected it now because we've upgraded our long-range scanners." 700 years. Corvin's scales rippled with disbelief. No power source should last that long without maintenance. "Prepare the fleet," he ordered after a moment of consideration. "We're going to investigate." His second-in-command, Commander Vexer, stepped forward. "Sir, with respect, Sector 9 Delta is outside our expansion zone. The High Command hasn't authorized." "The High Command will be pleased when we discover new technology to appropriate," Corvin interrupted. "If something has been broadcasting for 7 centuries, it's worth investigating." Within hours, the Zaldari battle group, consisting of 15 warships and 30 support vessels, changed course. The Conqueror led the way, its massive engines pushing it through space toward the mysterious signal. As they entered Sector 9 Delta, the sensors began picking up more information. The signal was coming from what appeared to be a ship, a massive vessel floating silently in the emptiness. Initial scans showed no signs of active power systems or life support, yet the signal continued to pulse steadily. "Magnify," Corvin ordered as they approached visual range. The main screen flickered, and then the image appeared. The vessel was unlike anything the Zaldari had encountered before. It was long and angular, with a dark hull that seemed to absorb the light from nearby stars. It didn't have the organic curves of Zaldari ships or the crystalline structures of the Vexillian fleet. This was something altogether different, something ancient yet somehow timeless. Preliminary analysis suggests it's approximately 3 kilometers in length, the science officer reported. The hull is composed of materials we can't identify. And despite appearances, there are energy readings deep within the structure. Minimal, but present. Life signs. None that we can detect, Admiral. Corvin studied the vessel, feeling a strange sense of unease. In all his years commanding the Zaldari expansion forces, he had never encountered something that made his instincts scream danger quite like this silent behemoth. "Prepare a boarding party," he finally ordered. "I want to know what's inside that ship and where it came from." The boarding shuttle approached the unknown vessel cautiously. Initial scans had revealed what appeared to be a docking bay, though the enormous doors remained sealed. Commander Vexer led the team, his voice crackling over the communication channel as they circled the massive ship. "There are markings on the hull, Admiral. Some kind of script or language we don't recognize. Document everything," Corvin instructed. "Our linguists can analyze it later." The boarding team eventually found what appeared to be an external airlock. After several attempts to interface with the alien technology, they resorted to more direct methods, cutting tools that slowly carved through the ancient metal. The moment the hull was breached, something changed. Sensors across the Zaldari fleet registered a power surge within the alien vessel. Lights that had been dormant for centuries suddenly flickered to life along the ship's spine. "Admiral," the sensor officer called out, alarm evident in their voice. "The ship is powering up." Before Corvin could respond, the communication with the boarding party cut off abruptly. At the same moment, the systems on the Conqueror began to malfunction. Screens flickered, power fluctuated, and the ship's artificial gravity wavered momentarily. "What's happening?" Corvin demanded, steadying himself against his command chair. "Unknown, sir. It seems like some kind of electromagnetic pulse, but more sophisticated. It's affecting our systems selectively." Outside, the ancient vessel was now fully illuminated, lines of blue energy tracing patterns across its hull. What had appeared dead and abandoned now looked alive and very much aware. The communication system suddenly crackled to life, but it wasn't Commander Vexor's voice that filled the command center. It was something else, synthetic yet oddly human, speaking in a language no one on the bridge understood. After a moment, the voice shifted, as if adapting, and began speaking in broken Zaldari. "Unauthorized boarding detected. Defensive protocols activated. This vessel is property of the United Earth Defense Force. State your intentions." Corvin exchanged glances with his officers. United Earth Defense Force. Earth was a myth, a legend from the early days of galactic exploration. Some claimed it was the original home of the human species, but humans were rare in this part of the galaxy, scattered refugees with no homeworld, no real power. "This is Admiral Corvin of the Zaldari Empire," he responded, signaling for his communications officer to broadcast. "Your vessel is in Zaldari-controlled space. Identify yourself and your purpose." There was a pause, and then the voice returned, clearer now. "This statement contains factual errors. Current location, Neutral Zone Alpha, designated under the Galactic Concordat of 2387. This vessel, UEDF Vigilant, Long-Range Sentinel Class. Purpose: observation and defense of human interests in accordance with Protocol Omega." The Galactic Concordat, Protocol Omega. These terms meant nothing to Corvin or his officers. Whatever this ship was, it operated on information centuries out of date. "Return our boarding party immediately," Corvin demanded. "Then power down your systems and prepare to be towed to Zaldari space for further analysis." The response was immediate. "Request denied. Your boarding party violated security protocols. They will be detained until proper authorities arrive. This vessel will not be surrendered to any force. Final warning. Withdraw your fleet to a minimum safe distance of 5,000 kilometers." Corvin felt his anger rise. No one gave orders to a Zaldari admiral, especially not some ancient derelict with delusions of authority. "Target their propulsion systems," he ordered. "Disable that ship." The weapons officer hesitated only briefly before entering the commands. The Conqueror's main batteries hummed as they charged, locking onto the alien vessel. But before they could fire, every system on the Zaldari flagship shut down simultaneously. The lights, the engines, the weapons, everything went dark at once. Emergency power kicked in seconds later, but the main systems remained unresponsive. "Report," Corvin shouted as red emergency lighting bathed the bridge in an ominous glow. "All primary systems are offline." "Sir, it's as if something just turned us off." Similar reports flooded in from the other ships in the fleet. One by one, they had all been neutralized without a single weapon being fired. On the main viewer, now operating on minimal power, the Vigilant seemed to shimmer as a wave of energy rippled across its hull. The ship was fully awake now, and it was clear who held the advantage. The communication system crackled once more. "Hostile intent detected. Non-lethal countermeasures deployed. Your vessels have been temporarily disabled to prevent further escalation. You have 1 hour to withdraw before additional measures are implemented." As the voice faded, Corvin stared at the ancient human ship with a mixture of rage and disbelief. In all his years commanding the most powerful fleet in the known galaxy, he had never been so thoroughly defeated, and without a single shot being fired. The boarding party was returned to the Conqueror 30 minutes later, transported directly to the bridge through means the Zaldari scientists couldn't explain. Commander Vexer and his team appeared disoriented but unharmed. "Admiral," Vexer reported, his voice shaking slightly. "That ship, it's not just a vessel. It's alive somehow." "Explain," Corvin demanded. "The moment we entered, systems activated around us. We were scanned, contained, and then a holographic figure appeared, humanoid but clearly artificial. It questioned us, recorded our responses, and then informed us that we were being returned as a gesture of good faith." "Did you learn anything about the ship's capabilities?" Vexer hesitated. "Only that we've severely underestimated them. The interior technology is beyond anything I've seen. And Admiral, the AI mentioned others. It said, the Sentinels never stand alone." As if responding to this revelation, new signals began appearing on the Zaldari sensors, faint but growing stronger. From the depths of Sector 9 Delta, more signatures were emerging, similar to the Vigilant, but scattered across a vast area. They weren't dealing with a single forgotten relic. They had stumbled upon an entire network of ancient guardians, slumbering until disturbed. And now, they were waking up. Echoes of Earth. Admiral Corvin paced the bridge of the Conqueror, his claws clicking against the metal floor as emergency repair crews worked frantically to restore the ship's systems. 6 hours had passed since their encounter with the human vessel Vigilant, and the situation had only grown more complex. "Status report," he demanded, turning to his chief engineer. "Primary systems are coming back online, Admiral, but slowly. Whatever that ship did to us, it wasn't a simple electromagnetic pulse. It's as if something rewrote portions of our operating systems." Corvin hissed in frustration. "And the weapons? Still offline. We've tried bypassing the main control circuits, but nothing works." Outside, the Vigilant remained in position, its ancient hull now fully illuminated with pulsing blue energy signatures. More concerning were the new signals appearing throughout the sector, distant but similar vessels responding to some silent call. "Admiral," the communication officer interrupted. "We're receiving a transmission from High Command. They're not pleased with our situation." Of course they weren't. The Zaldari military had never suffered such a humiliating defeat, especially not without a single shot being fired. Corvin had reported the encounter partially, downplaying the complete neutralization of his fleet while emphasizing the discovery of advanced technology. "Put them through to my private chamber," he ordered. He would deal with the political fallout later. Right now, he needed information. "Commander Vexer, you were inside that vessel. I need more details about what you saw." Vexer straightened, still visibly shaken from the experience. The interior was vast, Admiral, far larger than should be possible given the external dimensions. The technology was unlike anything in our databases, not mechanical in the way we understand it, but almost biological in its responsiveness. "And this AI you mentioned, it identified itself as Guardian Protocol, an integrated defense system designed to protect human interests. It spoke of Earth not as a legend, but as an active political entity. According to its databanks, Earth is the center of a vast coalition called the Terran Accord." Corvin's inner eyelids flickered in thought. That's impossible. If such a coalition existed, we would know of it. The AI suggested otherwise, sir. It stated the human territories exist beyond what it called the veil, some kind of spatial boundary or dimensional barrier. The Vigilant is apparently one of many sentinels placed along this boundary, designed to monitor and respond to potential threats. Before Corvin could process this information, the science officer interrupted. "Admiral, we're detecting a transmission from the Vigilant. It's broadcasting on all frequencies, and it's not directed at us." "Put it through," Corvin ordered. The bridge speakers crackled to life, with a message repeating in multiple languages, some recognized by the Zaldari translation systems, others completely unknown. Attention Earth Command. Sentinel Station Alpha reporting. First Contact Protocol Alpha initiated. Requesting guidance. Potential hostile force neutralized. Awaiting instructions. The message repeated continuously, broadcasting into the depths of space toward coordinates that made no sense according to Zaldari star charts. They're calling for reinforcements. Corvin realized, a cold feeling settling in his stomach. "Sir," the sensor officer called out, voice tinged with alarm. "The Vigilant is transmitting data packets along with its message. Detailed scans of our ships, recordings of all communications, everything." Corvin made a swift decision. "Prepare all functional ships for immediate withdrawal. We need tow." He was interrupted as the main screen activated without command, displaying the interior of what appeared to be the Vigilance control center. A humanoid figure stood there, not flesh and blood, but a sophisticated hologram designed to interface with biological beings. "Admiral Corvin of the Zaldari Empire," the figure addressed him directly. "I am Guardian, custodian of the UEDF Vigilant. Your aggressive actions have been documented and transmitted to Earth Command. However, in accordance with First Contact protocols, I am authorized to offer you an opportunity for peaceful resolution." Corvin straightened, maintaining his dignity despite the circumstances. "We do not recognize your authority in this sector. Your claims about Earth and this Terran Accord contradict all known galactic records." The hologram's expression remained neutral. "Your knowledge is incomplete, Admiral. The Terran Accord operates beyond the veil by choice, not necessity. Earth has chosen isolation for reasons of its own, but maintains these sentinels as a safeguard. If your civilization is so powerful, why hide? Why not make your presence known?" History provides the answer. In the early days of human expansion, many species responded with fear and aggression, much as you have done. Rather than engage in endless conflict, Earth chose a different path. The hologram gestured, and the screen split to show historical records, images of battles and treaties, civilizations rising and falling across thousands of years. Humanity learned that true strength lies not in destruction, but in restraint. The Vigilant and ships like it carry no conventional weapons because we found something more powerful: the ability to neutralize aggression without taking life. As if to demonstrate, the hologram waved a hand, and suddenly the Conqueror's systems came fully back online. Weapons, propulsion, communications, everything restored in an instant. "Your vessels have not been damaged, merely temporarily disabled. This technology could have been weaponized to devastating effect, but that is not our purpose." Corvin struggled to maintain his composure. The implications were staggering. If this single Sentinel ship could completely neutralize a Zaldari battle group without firing a shot, what could an entire fleet of such vessels accomplish? "What do you want from us?" he finally asked. "Nothing. The Zaldari Empire exists outside our sphere of interest. You may continue your expansion in other directions. This sector, however, borders Terran space and will remain neutral ground." Before Corvin could respond, the sensor officer called out again, this time with undisguised fear in his voice. "Admiral, spatial distortion forming at coordinates 227 Mark 058. The main screen shifted to show a section of seemingly empty space folding in upon itself, creating a swirling vortex of energy. From within this distortion emerged a ship, then another and another. Within minutes, 12 vessels had appeared, arranged in a precise formation around the Vigilant. Unlike the ancient Sentinel, these ships were clearly modern, sleek, impossibly graceful constructions that seemed to shimmer with internal light. They bore the same basic design philosophy as the Vigilant, but refined, evolved over centuries of advancement. "Earth Command has responded," the Guardian announced, and there was something almost like pride in its synthetic voice. "The 7th Sentinel Fleet has arrived to investigate this incursion. You have been granted safe passage to withdraw your forces." On the bridge of the Conqueror, stunned silence reigned. The Zaldari prided themselves on having the most advanced fleet in known space, but these vessels made their ships look primitive by comparison. "Admiral," Commander Vexar whispered, "I recommend immediate withdrawal." For once, Corvin didn't argue. With as much dignity as he could muster, he opened a channel to the human fleet. "This is Admiral Corvin of the Zaldari Empire. We will withdraw from this sector as requested. However, I formally request a diplomatic exchange. If the Terran Accord wishes to establish relations with the Zaldari Empire, we are prepared to negotiate terms." There was a long pause before a new figure appeared on the screen. Not a hologram this time, but a living human, wearing a uniform adorned with unfamiliar insignia. "Admiral Corvin, I am Fleet Commander Elena Reyes of the Terran Sentinel Corps. Your request for diplomatic contact has been noted and will be considered by the Accord Council. Until then, please ensure that all Zaldari vessels respect the boundaries of the neutral zone." Her expression softened slightly. "For what it's worth, Admiral, your decision to withdraw rather than escalate speaks well of you. Perhaps there is potential for understanding between our peoples." With that, the communication ended. Corvin gave the order to retreat, and the Zaldari fleet slowly moved away from the sector they had so confidently entered hours before. As the Conqueror turned, Corvin remained at the viewport, watching the assembled human ships. They had come here seeking technology to appropriate, power to claim. Instead, they had found something far more significant: the revelation that the galaxy was much larger and more complex than the Zaldari had ever imagined. "Commander," he said quietly to Vexar, "prepare a complete report for High Command. Omit nothing. They won't be pleased." "No," Corvin agreed, "but they need to understand what we're facing. The humans could have destroyed us without effort, yet they chose restraint. That is a kind of strength our people have never considered." As the Zaldari fleet jumped to light speed, leaving the Sentinels of Earth behind, Corvin found himself contemplating a future very different from the one he had envisioned. The Zaldari Empire had always expanded through force, taking what they wanted and crushing any who opposed them. But how did one conquer an enemy that could disable your weapons with a thought? How did you fight an adversary that chose not to fight at all? Perhaps, Corvin realized, the answer was that you didn't. Perhaps the greatest lesson the humans had to teach was that true power lay not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when not to. Behind them, the ancient Sentinel Vigilant resumed its silent watch, the guardian of a boundary between worlds. Its mission continued as it had for centuries: not to conquer, not to destroy, but simply to stand as a reminder that beyond the stars they knew lay wonders and terrors yet unimagined. And sometimes, the most effective weapon was no weapon at all.